A proud supporter of this program, Riverbend Food Bank's vision is a hunger-free Iowa and Illinois.
Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory has been serving Quad City families since 1889. Whelan Presley Funeral Homes are located in Rock Island, Milan, and Reynolds and are proud supporters of WQPT.
A warmer Christmas week, but cold days ahead. The safety net designed to help people stay warm in the new year, and ringing in that new year 12 hours early in the cities. The issue of homelessness, of course, is a year-long problem, but it seems to only enter our consciousness during the holidays and cold weather. Several agencies in the cities are changing their approach to the issue, looking for ways to break the cycle of homelessness, rather than offering just a safe place to sleep for a night. Christian Care has been at the forefront of these efforts for a half-century, and joining us is the coordinator of Christian Care's outreach programs, Steve Gotson. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Let me tell you, let me ask you actually, is that you're actually seeing an increase right now in participation at the shelters. You recorded 15,000 nights of shelter, 45,000 meals, up slightly from a year before. Is the economy getting worse? What do you attribute that to?
Well, the need, unfortunately, has always been there. If you look at overall homelessness numbers, back in 2017, we were at about 380 on a given night here in the Quad Cities. In 2018, we were at about 560. Now in 2019, we're over 600. So the need's been there. It has been increasing. Now, part of the reason you're seeing the higher numbers from Christian Care is because back in June, we opened a brand new shelter with 6 additional beds. What we were having a problem with is anytime someone calls requesting a bed, if we don't have an opening immediately, we put them on a waiting list. Well, that waiting list was at times getting long, was getting difficult to manage, and our hearts just break when we know that people are in need and we don't have a facility for them. So back in June, we opened up this new facility. Again, 6 additional beds, that's not a ton, but that is going to be able to offer a lot more nights of care over the course of a given year. Sad to say, within less than a week, it was already full, and it's pretty much been full ever since.
When you're talking about 600 people, this is throughout the community, throughout all the agencies, so you guys keep a tab on the population throughout the region.
Yes.
Who are the 600 people? That's I mean, why do 600 of our neighbors not have a place to stay?
Well, Jim, that's a difficult question to answer because the answers are all different. When you actually sit down and begin to engage some of these individuals and talk about their stories, you're going to hear a wide gamut of stories, from lack of education, from a job loss, to a broken relationship, to physical disability, mental illness. There's a wide range of various needs, and we can begin to tackle one or here or there, another one suddenly pops up. So we need to continue to have shelters like Christian Care that are not targeted in one specific area, but are open to addressing, hey, you need a shelter, you need some food, come on in, we're going to do everything we can to help you manage.
But is this a cycle that can be broken? I mean, are you continuously seeing the same 600 people? I mean, or are you seeing, I want to hear success stories, and I know you have them.
Sure, we certainly do. And it's true that on the one hand, yes, there are some repeat people that we do see coming back. On the other hand, we have some wonderful stories of guys who have moved out. Just right before Thanksgiving, we had 4 gentlemen, in fact, who moved out into their own apartments. Now, it's only been a month, so we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on them to see how they're doing, how they progress. But we celebrate that. We don't want to be a long-term hotel for people. In fact, our goal is to usually have guys move out within the 4 to 6 month range and, again, get them into their own apartment. So we certainly do have success stories like that. We've got one gentleman, his name is Otis. He actually comes back now and volunteers. He lived with us for a little while. He had a physical disability. We had to help him manage. He needed some help with his education. We were able to get all those things, got him moved into his own apartment. I'm really excited. He's, again, comes back every single week on Wednesdays to help serve as a volunteer because he recognizes the difference that Christian Care made in his life.
Is this a serious issue with a person who just is doing fine, and then wham, you lose your job, or wham, you get some medical bills you can't pay for, and then all of a sudden you're suddenly out on the street?
It is a serious issue because, again, it's that manner of scrounging around to figure out, what do I need to do? A lot of people that I talk to, the average person driving up, maybe they see someone on the side of the road asking for money. For many of us, there is an assumption that either these people are just playing a game, or that they already know all the resources and they're just choosing not to do them. Now, in some cases that is true. In other cases, they don't know what to do. As you mentioned, they just lost this job. This happened just the night before or the week before, and they're trying to put pieces together and figure out what in the world to do. So the more we can get out and communicate about the available services, the more we can continue as a community to support the available services, the better off we can do.
Because I do know that you have one-on-one case management, because you are trying to deal at the root of the problem if there is a bigger problem than what we see on the surface.
Exactly. Every one of our residents that comes in, they sit down with one of our client advocates, just as you addressed, on a one-on-one session, so we can figure out what's holding you back from that job, that apartment, from whatever that next step is. Let's identify what's holding you back, identify that need that you've got, and then provide the resources. Whether those are resources specifically at Christian Care, thankfully here in the Quad Cities we have a wonderful network of social service organizations that we can really come together and say, hey, we're going to send you over here for this help, we're going to get you over here to get this job, whatever it might be. So we want to work with them, as I said, to lay out a game plan and make sure that, as I said earlier, this is not just a free hotel. Let's map out the steps that you need to take so that you can get back on your feet and become a contributing member of society again.
Well, like we said, you've been around for a little more than a half century, have you not?
Actually, even more than that. We were founded back in 1916, so we are celebrating 103 years.
So I mean, it's amazing the work that has been being done, but that work continues. What I'm saying is that nobody's really putting you out of business.
Yes, I wish I could say. That would be one of those glorious moments for anyone working with the homeless services, to be able to say we weren't needed anymore. Yes, the problem continues to persist because, unfortunately, as I addressed before, some of these needs pop up all of a sudden, pop up out of nowhere, and we've got to be able to handle and manage that.
But is the Quad Cities handling it in the right way? I mean, are there new ideas on how to deal with homelessness rather than, okay, we're going to have a shelter and we're going to try to talk to you one-on-one to help you? You know where I'm getting at. I'm not saying that that isn't important, but is it breaking the cycle of homelessness?
That's a great question, and I'm going to say hold on to that thought because an organization called the QC Housing Cluster, which is a number of different social service providers and agencies and some government, some landlords, a number of different voices, if you will, in the housing discussion, have been gathering and meeting to really begin to map out longer term plans. Now, I'm not at a position at the moment to start laying out some of those plans. There's more approvals, more discussion that needs to take place. But we're wrestling with that exact thought that you're describing, Jim, that what we've done so far, it's serving a certain amount of need, but there's a bigger need. There's more issues that we need to wrestle with. How then can we come together, not just the QC Housing Cluster, how can we come together as the Quad Cities community to really begin to address that? So again, it's coming and it's on its way.
Well, with Christian Care, I mean, you really center, and correct me if I'm wrong, you center basically on men.
Yes.
But as you know, I mean, there's so many families that run into the problem of homelessness with small children, and oftentimes with a mother who's not only trying to earn an income, but is also taking care of these children. When you're talking about these 600 homeless people on average, let's say, for the Quad City community, is the great majority of that being the women and children who have found themselves unable to find a place to stay?
That's a good question. I don't know the breakdown. I'm not even sure if I've seen numbers at how it breaks down in terms of gender, age, or whatnot. I do recognize what you're saying, and we're also wrestling with the fact that I'd say families is the hardest component. We have shelters for men, we have shelters for women, but that need of something that accommodates both, so we don't have to separate parents, we don't have to separate parents and children. We don't want to have to do that. So we need to continue to have some conversations here in the community about the types of services that we can offer that solves that problem.
And as you've been pointing out, that it is not something that you look away from. You should be actively helping to solve the problem, and you have one of those events, Have a Heart for the Homeless. You got a luncheon, of course. Tell me a little bit about that, because it's coming up in February, but it really is a chance for people to get a better idea of not only the homeless situation, but ways that they can help.
Yeah, this actually started about 7 or 8 years ago when a teacher, she's now retired, came to realize that some of her students were experiencing homelessness, and her heart just broke. And so she came up with this idea for the luncheon and actually ran it for a year or two on her own before connecting with both Christian Care and Humility Homes and Services over in Davenport and inviting us to kind of take over leadership and help to expand it even more. So yeah, this is a wonderful luncheon at Jumer's Casino on February 8th. There's more information on Christian Care's website, ChristianCareQC.org, including some ticket information. We are delighted that Miss Iowa 2018, Michaela Hughes Shaw, is coming out to be our keynote speaker. She has a voice, especially regarding mental illness, and is going to come and speak a little bit about the relationship between mental illness and homelessness. So we're delighted for the program, we're delighted for this lunch, we're delighted for people to have a chance to come out, to hear, to engage, to talk, and of course to know that every penny spent at this particular event is going to these two agencies that are working hard to make a difference in our community.
And is that a problem right now? Because I mean, sometimes when you see an increase in need, you do see fewer people contributing because they're in need as well. But the economy is getting better.
Yes.
So are you seeing it a little bit easier to find the let's say the help that you need, whether it's monetary or volunteer-wise?
I would say, again, you're asking me a lot of good yes or no questions. Because right now in this particular season, yes. But Jim, as you alluded to, this is a season that we think about it.
Right.
It's amazing that when I look at our volunteer participation, we actually go up about 30% just in volunteer hours in November and December. And so there's an element of, once we hit January, encouraging people, hey, remember, it's actually going to get colder still. Remember, the cold this past year hit in January, not in November or December. So whether it's that volunteering, whether it's that financial gift, that in-kind donation of clothing or food, that need is still going to be there once we hit January 1. And so I encourage people to continue to find ways to give, because they need to make a difference too.
Steve Gotzen, thank you so much from Christian Care. Once again, the Have a Heart for Homeless Luncheon with Humility Homes and Services is coming up February 8th, so take part in that. Help out your neighbors. In a moment, how to ring in the new year while the sun is still shining. But first, here's Laura Adams, Out and About.
This is Out and About for December 23rd through 29th, wishing you all a happy holiday season. The outdoor gardens of the Quad City Botanical Center will be in winter bloom with 100,000 glowing lights during Winter Nights Winter Lights. The holiday light display runs through January 4th. Or check into the TaxSlayer Center for home games of Quad City Storm Hockey. There'll be a 4 p.m. sunset Christmas Eve service at Calvary Lutheran in Moline with special music December 24th, while the historic Colony Church at Bishop Hill continues their traditional Swedish Julata service Christmas morning at 6 a.m. Ring in the new year, literally, by building your own Rube Goldberg-inspired contraption with a fun, competitive family event. Coming December 28th, starting at 11:30 a.m. Winner takes home a basic family membership to the Putnam. The Art Legacy League invites you to an art party open house featuring the art of Father Edward Kadish Friday, December 27th from 11 to 2:30 p.m. at the J.B. Young Opportunity Center in Davenport. Plus, there's still time to catch Mr. Scrooge, a musical, and Elf, the musical, entertainment for children of all ages at Circuit 21 Dinner Playhouse in Rock Island. Shake off some of the holiday hangover at the Black Box Theater in downtown Moline as the late night shows present improvisational comedy with 2 shows, Trash Talk and 309, December 28th at 8 p.m. For more information, visit wqpt.org.
Thank you, Laura. Lojo Russo is a one-woman show that proves that you only need one woman. She has proved that when she took the stage of Moline's Black Box Theater. So Lojo Russo in our spotlight tonight with Restless Soul.
There's a sign down on Main Street, attracts me like a moth to a flame. Illuminating words, saying thank you, please come back again. It reminds my restless soul I've been here too long, without a word or a whisper, going, going, gone. There's a girl back in Boston, remembers better me. When I took everything for granted and gave it all away for free. It reminds me of a time when I thought I could do no wrong, and like a fading photograph, going, going, gone. a place when you stand face to face with the weight of it all. Your heart hits a wall. There's a side to the story no one has ever heard. It's the side that's the truth, and the side where no one gets hurt. I'm reminded that history is written by those who are strong, and like pages torn and tattered, going, going, gone. I'm gone. I'm tired of running from all my faults and regrets. Comes a time and a place when you stand face to face with the weight of it all. Your heart hits a wall. There's a sign up ahead telling me it's time to come home.
Lojo Russo with Restless Soul. Lojo is scheduled to be in Galena at the first of the year. She'll play at the Grape Escape on Friday, January 3rd, and she's set to play at the Riverside Casino near Iowa City the week after that. Well, we hope you had a great Christmas and your kids got all they deserved. And with the new year approaching, you might be looking for fun family activity that doesn't stretch late into the night. Family Museum has you covered once again this year, and Museum Director Kim Kidwell joins us with a preview. I love New Year's Eve. You know I love it.
It's great.
It's a fantastic idea. For those who don't know about it, tell me about it.
Sure. So New Year's Eve is just a way to ring in the new year for families. So, you know, these days, I don't know about other families, but staying up till midnight for me is a little rough. And my kids are old. But, you know, it's just a nice family event that kids get to kind of ring in the new year and celebrate too and have just as much fun.
At the stroke of noon.
At noon, yes.
Which makes more sense, but that doesn't mean that you have to wait. I mean, your doors open at 9 o'clock.
Yes. So at 9 o'clock, we open the doors. We have all kinds of fun activities going on, noisemakers that they can make, hats, crowns, you know, everything that they're going to need to ring in the new year. And then we start gathering in the hallway about half hour, 20 minutes before. The Myers Brothers Band was joining us. They've been with us since the onset when they were in middle school, and now they're out of college. So they will be there playing, you know, music. Miss Iowa will be there to help us with the countdown.
A person with a tiara, what more do you want?
I mean, it's going to be awesome, yeah.
But the key, of course, is the confetti. You guys really push that.
Yeah. So this year we are increasing the balloons. So there'll be lots and lots more balloons. We do have, as always, the confetti, which we start cutting up months in advance. But usually like 3-4 days before the event, we have a crew of people in a room just inflating balloons. We've got this whole system rigged up now with the air compressor, and we take turns.
Sure.
We have actually purchased these balloon tires so that your fingers don't get tired tying balloons. So we've got it kind of down to a science. So the whole entire rooms are just filled with balloons until we can hoist them up in the ceiling. So.
What do you suggest to families? Because you don't want to wait till noon, of course. I mean,
right.
Because you really do get kind of crowded.
We do. I mean, we usually have over 1,000 people at the event. So my suggestion would be just, depending upon your kids and how much you think they can tolerate, come a little before, an hour or two before, do a couple of the activities, and then, come in the hall and dance around and wait for the big countdown to 12 o'clock noon. So, yeah.
Have you noticed that, I mean, you must see repeats all the time, but do you notice a lot of new faces that do come in?
Sure, absolutely. We have people, from the community, people who maybe last year their children were a little too young, they didn't want to, come out. So we're always, or grandparents are in town, or people have family in town over the holidays, so they get to come and experience it for the first time. So
I want to talk about a big change that happened at the Family Museum, the certification that was awarded in the fall. You are now Certified Autism Center. That designation, a first in Iowa, that doesn't happen automatically. You worked hard for that. What made it so that you were able to have that designation?
So the Certified Autism Center designation, it was really important to us. Basically, our entire staff went through training. It was an online training, and the amount of training kind of depended on what their contact was with kids. So maybe our office staff or our behind-the-scenes staff got a little bit less training. And it was all based on, their position at the museum.
Sure.
But everybody who works there underwent the training. And the training was about six to 8 weeks long. And they basically went through modules, PowerPoint presentations, webinar type, things. And it went sort of everything from how the brain functions for children on the spectrum, even children with ADHD or children with sensory related disorders, how different types of children react in different situations, how to respond to it. It kind of really gave us a behind-the-scenes science look at, this is why they're reacting the way they're reacting. Their brain doesn't function like everybody else's. So not only was it helpful for our staff to learn some maybe new techniques or new ways to approach these situations, but also sort of the science behind it.
And that's important for the training for the staff, but you also have the facility is also very welcoming. And I want to talk about two different aspects. One is that you do have special nights, but the other one is that you do have, let's say, quiet rooms or areas where the child will be calmed down. Let's start with that. What is offered at the Family Museum day in and day out?
Sure. So, and we even offered this before we underwent the training, and the training was just sort of to enhance kind of what we already do. But we always have safe spaces, quiet spaces. If we notice that a caregiver, a parent, or, any adult, if they're having a situation, we always offer them. We have rooms they can go into where they can turn the lights down. We have beanbag chairs where they can kind of sit in and, immerse themselves. We have sensory-friendly kits. That inside the kits are flashcards that maybe if the child's having trouble communicating or is nonverbal, they can point to certain pictures and describe, hey, this is what's bothering me, or I need this. We have different tactile things, so gloves they put on that are kind of rubbery and spiky that kind of calm them down. Different brushes that have different textures, so some kids respond well to brushing the arms or brushing the legs. We have headphones, so if it's a crazy day at the museum and it's too loud, we always have access to headphones. So, and that could be for any child. I mean, sometimes they can come in and feel really overwhelmed, whether they're, have special needs or not.
Because you think of a museum, you think of actually, going after the senses. You think of bright colors or loud noises or movements and exciting things, and it's like, you want to make sure that every child feels safe.
Right. Sometimes the overstimulation is not good, and we recognize that, and we have our floor staff, our Play Pal staff, our guest services staff are all, versed in, hey, this looks like we might need to step in or offer them, some alternatives kind of a thing.
And then you do have some special nights. You do have some certain days where it's like, okay, we want to serve this entire part of our population.
Absolutely. So quarterly, we have our special needs nights. They're free to the public. They're on a Friday night. We close the museum to everyone else. You just need a ticket just so we know how many people are coming, but it is free. And it's free for every member of the family. So everyone can come in. We turn the lights down a little bit lower. If we have loud exhibits or things, we turn them off. We always invite the QC canine dogs, the therapy dogs to come in, and they have a blast. They go down the slides and things. So that's really fun. But we have the dogs there in case kids, we have our calming kits. We have sensory-friendly activities going on, whether it's Play-Doh or some, moon sand or things like that going on. And it's really been a cool experience. We've been doing them for a few years now, and, we've seen families come in who would never come to the museum, and they're just thankful that they can come. They don't feel judged. They don't worry about their child maybe having a bad interaction with another child that they have to explain away. Even the siblings of the special needs kids get a chance to talk. Being a sibling of a special needs child
Right.
is also difficult because there's attention.
You kind of forget that.
There's things like that, so they get a chance to kind of hang out and say, oh yeah, this is what goes on. So it's kind of almost its own little support group at times.
We have just a few moments left, but I did want to talk about your winter session classes, your early learning classes. A lot of things start in January.
Yes.
You've got sewing classes that start for 8 weeks on January 7th. Your Inventors Club, which is very popular, which is also an 8-week course starting January 9th.
Yeah.
What should parents be thinking about right now?
So if they'd like to register, they can just call the museum front desk and they will direct them to the right person. You can also go online and get information. Sew Fun is the name of the sewing class. So that's gonna be sort of a first time for us, but one of our educators just said, hey, I want to try that, and it sounds like fun. And then our Inventors Club is just a STEM-based science, art, problem-solving type class. The kids kind of rule. Whatever they're interested in is wherever the curriculum goes. Actually, this winter it's going to be in the Think Shop because we're doing some renovations upstairs. So it'll be just hands-on all the time. So
if you're not really familiar with the Family Museum, maybe a good idea would be to come to New Year's Eve.
absolutely,
And
yeah.
then perhaps check out some of the programs that are available, and the registration, of course, is going on right then and there.
Yep, it's going on right now. Our winter spring catalog just came out, so all the information is in there and online as well.
All right, thanks so much.
Awesome.
Kim Kidwell, who's the director of the Family Museum. Thanks so much for joining us,
Thanks for having me.
and good luck this coming year.
Yes, thank you.
Get those balloons to drop. We want to welcome you to a big party that we're actually throwing. Tickets are now available and on sale for WQPT Champagne on the Rocks event. It's coming up Friday, January 24th at the Rhythm City Casino and Resort. It's a night for you to bid on some great prizes and perhaps win some jewelry. Ooh. Get details about Champagne on the Rocks at our website, WQPT.org. On the air, on the radio, on the web, and on your mobile device. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
A proud supporter of this program, Riverbend Food Bank's vision is a hunger-free Iowa and Illinois.
Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory has been serving Quad City families since 1889. Whelan Presley Funeral Homes are located in Rock Island, Milan, and Reynolds and are proud supporters of WQPT.